Hello and welcome to today's video. This is my first book haul of the year. We are almost at the end of March now. Got just over a week left, but I don't think I'll buy any more books this month, and if I do, I'll just put them in the next video. I've gone a bit overboard. My goal is to only allow myself to buy one book for every 2 books that I read. So far I'm unsuccessful at that. If we are sticking to that, I should have only purchased 18 books, and I have 32 to talk about today. So it definitely isn't going to plan so far, but we're having a good time, we're having a fun time. Hopefully, you know, by the end of the year, hopefully it'll have evened out. There's been a lot of exciting books and a lot of books that I've wanted for a long time that I ended up finding. So yeah, are you coming to help? No? Where are you going? There you go. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about the books in 4 sections. The 4 sections they're split into are books that haven't arrived because they're like pre-orders that haven't come out yet, books I've already read, and then books I've purchased new and books I've purchased used. Right, are you alright? What are you doing? If you want to come down, then come down. So the first section that I'm going to talk about are books that haven't arrived. So these are pre-orders that I've ordered. They're not out yet. I've decided to keep them in this book haul because I've decided to get them during the first few months of the year and they're already counting towards the goal. So I'll put a little picture in of each of them here. But the first one is The Shadow Cabinet. This is book 2 of Her Majesty's Royal Coven. I read the first one last year and it was great. I had such fun with it. I had such a fun time, and I need to know what's going to happen because that ending was a lot. I won't say any more in case you haven't read the first one, but yeah, I really need to continue on with this series and I can't wait for it to come out, so I have pre-ordered it. And then the second one in this category, and this is also the last one in this category, is The Last Devil to Die. This is the 4th book in the Thursday Murder Club series by Richard Osman. I really love and enjoy this series. I have pretty much read all of them as they've come out now, and yeah, I decided, you know what, I'm that excited about it, I might as well just set a pre-order up for it and read it as soon as I can. If you don't know anything about the Thursday Murder Club, each book follows like a different crime, but we essentially have these 4 80-year-olds who meet up every Thursday in the jigsaw room to discuss cold cases. And in book 1 we find that not very far in the cold cases that they were solving, a new case actually happens on the doorstep and they might be able to get themselves involved in like a real-time investigation, and we just go from there. But it's a lot of fun and I really enjoy it, so pre-ordered book 4. Okay, so the next section are books that I've got within this first part of the year, books that I've purchased within this first bit of the year, but I've already read them. I've already got around to actually reading them. So I've got a little bit of a stack here. There's 7 books in total that fit into this category. I will tell you whether I brought them new or used because I personally find that interesting, and the other 2 piles are split up like that. And all 7 of these books, I've read them and they've all got either a 4, a 4.5 or a 5-star. So that does fill me with some confidence that maybe I am making good book purchasing decisions this year, and maybe they're all going to be that successful. So yeah, let's get into the pile. First up we've got Fortuna Sworn. I actually read this one on Scribd before purchasing the books and decided I actually do really enjoy them, so would like to own the books to read them physically rather than as an ebook. So yeah, this is about Fortuna. She's the last of her kind. She is investigating her brother's disappearance, who disappeared 2 years ago, and in searching for him she has to interact with and work with some powerful fairies. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed the first book. It was a really fun time and I will definitely be continuing on with the series. Then we've got The War of Two Queens. I read this one super recently, only a couple of books ago that I read this one. This is the 4th book in the From Blood and Ash series. I had a fun time with this. It's alright. I really enjoyed book 1 of this series, and all of them afterwards have all been good but not lived up to book one. So I'm still intrigued by this. I'm still intrigued what's going on, and I will continue on with the series, but it's just not grabbing my attention as much as I would like. However, since starting the From Blood and Ash series, I am also reading the prequel series, and this is book 2 of that prequel series. This is called A Light in the Flame. I'm really enjoying the prequel series. I kind of wish that I just read the prequel before reading the From Blood and Ash series, but I don't think I'd have understood it quite as well. And I'm also reading them in the correct order, like in terms of publication. But there are certain things that happen in here and certain characters that are like almost dead or dying or whatever. And because I've read the original series and I've already seen them and I already know, you know, at least they're not going to die because I've seen them in this later on series, I feel like it has taken away a few of the like more tense moments. But so far, like, that is the only downside of this, is that there's been some moments that I feel like could have been very emotional and they just haven't been because of already reading the current series at the same time as the prequel series. Then I got Bingo Love Jackpot Edition. This is a really lovely little graphic novel. It's about two grandmas who loved each other. They met at the bingo in 1963, but they broke up because of pressure from their families and reunite nearly 50 years later, and they actually get to like live their like love and like see their true love again after all this time. So yeah, it was really great, really, like, I don't know if wholesome's the right word because it wasn't like particularly wholesome, but it was just really cute. It was a cute graphic novel, hopeful, I guess it may be better. Like, it was a very hopeful graphic novel and it was really nice. I really enjoy reading about older characters that like we don't really get to see much of in books, or maybe there are books out there. If there are books out there of older characters, let me know. I haven't come across many of them. And then I'm going to do these next two books together because this is Lore Olympus Volume 2 and Lore Olympus Volume 3. I'm now up to date on all the ones that are out, and I have actually read past this on Webtoons because of how much I enjoyed these. These are so good. This is a Hades and Persephone retelling. I've heard it's very different from the original myth, like a lot of things have been changed, but it is all about the gods and goddesses and how they interact with each other, how they see each other. And the imagery in these is absolutely stunning. Like, the colours that are used, you can very much tell whose perspective you're from, who you're looking at, just by the colours alone. And I really enjoyed these. And then last but not least of the books that I've already read is Last Violent Call. I read this like the day it came out. It was great. I can't wait for the final book in this like Shanghai series, the second book in the Foul Lady Fortune duology, which comes after this one in reading order. This is like 3.5 if you're reading it as the whole thing. You do need to have read both These Violent Delights duology and Foul Lady Fortune before reading this one. But yeah, I had a great time. It was great. I sat down, I read it in like not one sitting, but there's two short stories in here, and like each short story was essentially one sitting. It was so good. Really glad that I read it, and if you have read and enjoyed both These Violent Delights and Foul Lady Fortune, I would recommend it. It is a very lovely edition. And out of those 7 books, these 4 here I got used and got them that way, and these 3 here I purchased new. So yeah, that was those. The next pile I'm going to do is the rest of the books that I've purchased new, just because it's the shortest pile. These are in no particular order, just literally how I've stacked them up. So first up we have The Secret History. This is like the OG Dark Academia novel. I've picked up a couple of books last year that are in the Dark Academia category. I haven't read them yet because I thought if I'm going to get into this category and if I'm going to do it kind of like correctly, obviously there's no actual correct way to do it, then I should start with the original and the one that has inspired a lot of the others. So yeah, picked up The Secret History. And then I have The Luminaries. This is one that I actually pre-ordered because this is an exclusive Waterstones edition. I thought that the cover was different, and I'm still not sure if it is, but the main exclusive edition bit seems to be these sprayed edges that we've got on the side. This cover is definitely different to the hardback cover, but I'm not actually sure if all of the paperbacks have this cover or if only the Waterstones paperback does. But yeah, I have actually started this book. I'm only one chapter in, but so far I'm having a fairly decent time. So yeah, that's The Luminaries. It's about Winnie Wednesday, who wants to become a hunter and is going to enter the hunter trials and has to work with Jay Friday to learn more about the forest and the nightmares. So that's that. And then the last new book is actually one that only came out like a couple of days ago, I think, and this is The Sad Ghost Club Volume 3. I love these graphic novels. I think Volume 3 is the last one. I'm pretty sure that this is just going to be a trilogy, but yeah, I've really enjoyed volumes 1 and 2, so I thought I'd pick up volume 3. The very basics of this is some like sad ghosts who decide to join together and be sad together. Yeah, but it's very lovely, it's very wholesome, and it's a really lovely read. And then the last pile, which is the books purchased used pile, obviously excluding the ones that I've already read, is quite a big one. Let's see if I can pick this up. Here. Can you see all of those? I think you can. Yeah, so these are all of the rest of the books still to talk about. So although we're on the last pile, there's quite a hefty amount to get through here. So yeah, again, I've just stacked these up as I found them off the shelves. They're in no particular order. Hopefully they all make sense. The first book that I have to talk about is Ship of Magic. This is the first book in the Live Ship Traders series. I'm currently reading Assassin's Apprentice, which is the first book in the previous trilogy to this trilogy. And yeah, I'm trying to basically collect all of the older editions. Like, this cover is what I want. I've actually got all the rest in paperback. You can kind of see them poking through here. I've got the first trilogy and the second book of this trilogy in the like original old paperback, so I'm happy with this, but it is a hardback. So if I do ever come across the paperback, which I mean, I've been searching for all of these old books for like 2 years now, and this is the first time I've seen Ship of Magic in this edition at all, let alone like paperback. But it is a hardback, so if I do ever come across it, I will swap it out, but for now I'm very happy to have this. I don't know what this is about, and I'm not willing to read it because I know that it follows on after the first trilogy that I've only just started. Then we have Binti Home. This is the second book in, I don't actually know what it's called. I think it might just be called the Binti trilogy. Book 1 is called Binti, and I read it January, it might have been that I read Binti, and I absolutely loved it. It was so good, so interesting. It was a tiny book. It was only about 80 pages, but it really captured my attention and really got me thinking, and I really enjoyed it, so I picked up book 2. Then we have Journey to the Centre of the Earth. This is a classic that I've heard of, a classic that I think I will actually enjoy. Obviously writing style could determine that. I haven't actually had a proper look through the writing style, but I'm hopeful that I will actually enjoy this one. And I found this little cute edition in a charity shop, so I thought I would pick it up. It's a Penguin Popular Classics 100% recycled edition. Yeah, I don't know, but I really like the look of it. It's very simple, but I'm a fan. Then we have the Memoirs of Sherlock Holmes by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This is, I believe, the third Sherlock thing you should read if you're reading them in order. And again, I saw it in the charity shop. I do already own the collection that is The Return of Sherlock Holmes. I picked this up because it was a pretty edition and it was £2, so I know I'm going to get to them at some point, so I picked this up. I'm actually going to shuffle around my pile for a second. Right, but on the back of me picking that one up and realising I now own 3 Sherlock books, but none of which I can start with, I ordered online a copy of A Study in Scarlet, which is the first book and the book that you should start with. So I've also got this one, and this is the first Sherlock book that you should read. Basically, according to every website I looked at, it looks like there are a few different reading orders and you can technically read them in any order. But there were like 3 or 4 websites that recommended this one first, and this is also marked as #1 on Goodreads. So this is the one I'm going to go for first. The next one we have Bone Shaker. Essentially, I was buying some books online and I ended up just looking at some of them. Basically, when I buy secondhand, if it's from a company who charges for delivery, I always see whatever else they've got in stock, just to kind of, you know, if I'm paying for delivery, I might as well make sure there's nothing else I want to read. And this one just really stood out to me. I know I haven't been reading the synopses of any of these, but I really don't know how to explain this one. Well, I probably haven't explained any of them particularly well, to be honest, but hopefully you've followed along well enough. But I am going to read the back of this one because I don't know how else to explain it. In the early days of the Civil War, rumours of gold in the frozen Klondike brought hordes of newcomers to the Pacific Northwest. Anxious to compete, Russian prospectors commissioned inventor Leviticus Blue to create a great machine that could mine through Alaska's ice. Thus was Dr. Blue's incredible bone-shaking drill engine born. But on its first test run, the bone shaker went terribly awry, destroying several blocks of downtown Seattle and unearthing a subterranean vein of blight gas that turned anyone who breathed it in into the living dead. Now it is 16 years later and a wall has been built to enclose the devastated and toxic city. Just beyond it lives Blue's widow, Briar Wilkes. Life is hard with a ruined reputation and a teenage boy to support, but she and Ezekiel are managing until Ezekiel undertakes a secret crusade to rewrite history. His quest will take him under the wall and into a city teeming with ravenous undead, air pirates, criminal overlords and heavily armed refugees, and only Briar can bring him out alive. I don't know, that just really caught my attention. I was like, let's give it a go. So I'm gonna give it a go. Then we have Fish Swimming in Dappled Sunlight. I'm not gonna lie, this was a cover buy. It's not a complete cover buy. I've seen a few people that I watch on YouTube talk about this book and I thought, that sounds interesting. But also, that's a really pretty cover. Maybe I should get it. So I did. And this is essentially, there's two people. This whole book takes place over one night. There's two people who are about to go their separate ways and they both think the other one committed murder. And it's them spending the night trying to... I don't know if they're getting the other one to admit to it or just what they're trying to do. Who's the murderer and what really happened. So I'm guessing they're going to try and get one of them to confess. But if they both think it's each other, then maybe it's neither. I don't really know. But yeah, it sounds very interesting and it's just a very pretty cover, in my opinion. Then I picked up The Perseverance. This is a poetry collection that sounds really, really interesting. Essentially, throughout this poetry collection, it talks about a lot of things, but I also heard that there was sign language included in here, and there's also some sections that are like interestingly written. So for instance, I've just flicked through this page and we've got some crossed out lines here, and we've got some completely blacked out lines here, and we've also got some sort of like diagram as some sort of sign here. And yeah, it just sounds really interesting. I saw someone basically talk about this book and like do a flip through, and I was like, I need to give that a go. So I hope to do that very, very soon. Then another poetry collection that I've picked up is Electric Arches. Again, just a poetry collection that sounded really, really interesting. I don't know if this edition actually has a synopsis on it. No, there's no synopsis on the edition that I've got. Melds poetry and prose, magical realism and memory in an exploration of what it's like to grow up as a black woman in America. That's like someone's review. I can't remember the synopsis and there's not one on this one, but it just sounded really interesting. It sounded like it was going to be like a very good read. So yeah, got this one. Then I ended up picking up the first 5 books in the Discworld. There's currently a read along happening called Around the Disc in 800 Days. I think it's going to happen over the next couple of years and I would like to take part in it. I haven't yet started reading them. I think by the end of this month you need to have caught up to book 6, so don't know if I'll have caught up, but hopefully by the next 6 I'll have properly caught up. But yeah, I picked up the first 5 to give a good go. So we've got The Colour of Magic, The Light, Fantastic, Equal Rights, Mort and Sorcery. I know absolutely nothing about any of these, but for the last kind of 10 to 15 years I've been being told to pick up Terry Pratchett, and that like I've been recommended Terry Pratchett from people who know me and know my reading taste, so I'm really excited to eventually give them a go. Then I have this little one here. This is called Building Harley Quinn's Moon, and essentially you've got this crew who were meant to go to one planet and start terraforming, I think it is. Yeah, head terraformer. And essentially they can't make it to that planet. They're stopped on a different planet and they have to start there to be able to like give their ship what it needs to get to the eventual planet. I don't want to read the back again because I have started this one, so I don't want to read the back and the whole synopsis and like potentially give stuff away, because I am 10 pages in and it's already so intense, so weird, and like so interesting to read. I think we're about to have a time jump, honestly. So I've read kind of like year 8, 9, 4, and then where I'm at, it now says year 60,201. So I feel like we might have just had a massive time jump, but I'm very excited to get back into this one and find out. Okay, and then we have this little stack here. These are actually a few first books or standalones that are Tor novellas. I've been reading a lot of Tor books lately, especially the novellas, and so far I haven't found one that's like missed. So I've picked up a few that I thought sounded really interesting. We have Every Heart a Doorway. This is the first book in the Wayward Children series, which is essentially like portal fantasy, but what happens when you actually come back to the like quote unquote real world from the world that was perfect for you. That's all I know about this. That's all I want to know going in. But I think there's like 8 books out in that series now. I've got Comfort Me With Apples. This is, I believe, a standalone horror novella. I really want to read this, and I definitely will read it soon. My boyfriend has read this and stayed up all night to finish it, so I know it must be good because he doesn't read like that and can also hear me. Do you want to add anything?
It was very good.
It was very good, but unfortunately I did get the twist spoilt for me in this one, so as much as I do really want to read it, I'm aware that my enjoyment might be slightly lower because I do already know the twist. But yeah, he didn't spoil it for me. I'd had it spoiled for me before he read it. Then I have A Song for the Wild Bill. This is book 1 in the Monk and Robot. I don't know how many books they're going to be. I think it might be a trilogy, but I'm not sure. But yeah, so again, I don't want to know much about this going in, but what I do know is you've got a robot. The robots and the humans stopped interacting, like they went their separate ways many years ago, and then a robot comes back to where the humans live many years later and starts asking like, what do you need, how can I help, sort of thing. And I think it's very much how, depending on who you ask, can depend on the answer you get, and I get a feeling that's where this one is going to go, but I don't know any more than that. Then I've got Fina. I hope that's how it's pronounced, Fina or Fina, I'm guessing. I'm pretty sure I'll be able to find an audiobook for this, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure this is a mixture of sci-fi and horror, so I'm very intrigued by it. I'm very intrigued by what it's going to be. It sounds weird. I'm going to read the back of this one again because, like, honestly, like this, I don't know how to explain it. Fina is a rambunctious and touching story that blends all the horrors the multiverse has to offer with the everyday awfulness of low-wage work. It explores queer relationships and queer feelings, capitalism and accountability, labour and love, all with a bouncing sense of humour and a commitment to the strange. When an elderly customer at a big box furniture store slips through a portal to another dimension, it's up to 2 minimum wage employees to track her across the multiverse and protect their company's bottom line. Multi-dimensional swashbuckling would be hard enough, but those 2 unfortunate souls broke up a week ago. To find the missing granny, Ava and Jules will brave carnivorous furniture, swarms of identical furniture spokespeople, and the deep resentment simmering between them. Can friendship blossom from the ashes of their relationship? In infinite dimensions, all things are possible. I really don't know what I'm getting myself into even after reading that. It sounds weird, it sounds interesting. I'm very intrigued. And then the very last book that I have to show today, which I actually think is the last book I purchased as well, is The City of Brass. I am intending to take part in the spring equinox iridium readathon, and I've had a look through, and one of the prompts that I will need to fulfill, I'll talk about this more in my TBR video for April, is a book with a metal in the title and 0. I have 0. I checked my boyfriend's shelf, he has 0. So I had a good look through, and one that I was like genuinely interested in, because I didn't want to buy a book for the sake of buying a book, was The City of Brass. I know next to nothing about this, and I'm going to keep it that way because I'm probably going to read it next month. But yeah, this is the final book that I have purchased. in the last 3 months. So yeah, hopefully this didn't last too long. I think I have been filming for a while now, but hopefully, you know, all went good. These are all the books that I've purchased. I think I've purchased quite, you know, a large amount. I'm going to try and cut back now. I'm definitely going to try and cut back over the next few months. And I'm going to try and hold myself accountable to that by making this video again in roughly 3 months time. So yeah, if there's any of these books that I haven't read yet that you think I should prioritise and think I should read sooner, then do let me know down below. Do give the video a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below for more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.
Lloré.